Hey guys, Matt here from Wrecked Brewery. It's been a minute, and I do have some video footage of a couple of videos actually in the pipeline. I gotta start putting some of these out. So this one is probably my most recent one, so I'm kind of working backwards. I have a couple others that I want to share here, but this is the Dropkick Nate, or a slight iteration of it. This is probably the fastest beer I've turned around to date. As you probably maybe have seen if you were following along with some of my most recent videos, I've been doing a lot of Jeeping lately. I have a new Jeep that I picked up around Christmas time, and I've just been having a blast off-roading with it. And some of the crowd, they like to bring some beers with them, to kind of enjoy, before, after, or even during a break. And they got wind that I'm a home brewer, so I've been tasked with bringing some beer with me now from now on as we're out there, camping and hanging out and stuff. So I brewed this beer with the intent of trying to get it completed quickly so I can bring it with, and it actually worked out. So I brewed this on July 29th, and I dry hopped it, and then I kegged it. So I kegged it on August the 5th. So really, this is a very, very young beer. Now today it's the 13th, 14th, sorry. So here I am just gonna try it. This is not the very, very fresh version that this was when I first brewed it and canned it for the trail, although those guys seem to really like it. And I actually met up with Kurt the other day and gave him one. I canned his probably a couple days later, so his was not quite as fresh, but still, very, very young. And he said it was still pretty good. So I gave this a little more time. It's still cloudy. It may stay cloudy for all I know. It is a pale ale and it has a lot of hops in it. So this may just be the final product of it. Although I do recall when I've made DKN in the past, it has cleared out a little bit more. But the difference I did with this one, same grain bill, same mostly hop schedule. I added a little bit more hops into dry hop than he has in his original recipe. So instead of an ounce each of Galaxy and Eldorado, I bumped up the Eldorado and Galaxy to 2 ounces apiece. And I only dry hopped actually 2 days. I was going to go for 3, but I was in a rush and I needed to can it, the day before the trail. So it still came through. And the only other difference that I made with this beer is I used a different yeast. The standard DKN uses like a Chico yeast, like a WLP001 or a USO5 or something of that ilk. And the brew tubers we've done a yeast experiment where we did drop Kvike Nate, where we used the different Kvike yeasts on the same recipe. So it is cool to toy with this recipe. It's a staple in the homebrew community, in the brew tuber community. And if you ever wanted to try it out and Nate's willing to share it, reach out to him, and I'm sure he would be happy to. And it's a really good beer. Well, anyway, the yeast that I used on this time around is I used the Imperial G01 Stefan. I really like this yeast. I used it once before for a previous year's experiment. We all got some free yeast from our sponsor, Imperial Yeast. And I forget the other yeast that I got. I think it was G01 and G03. And I used Stefan on some other wheat beer, and I really liked it. So I wanted to try it in this. So I bought it again and put it in here. And I will say, this isn't my first pour. It came out really nice. So Dropkick Nate is supposed to give off a lot of like bubblegum, passion fruit from the Galaxy hops and the Eldorado hops. And well, this has now been in the keg for an extra week, so let's see how it's kind of mellowed out or conditioned, a little more than when it was very fresh. Because when it was very fresh, those notes were very there, and I might have gotten a little bit of the hop bite, but again, because it was very fresh. Still has a wonderful nose to it, very very fruity nose to it. Definitely getting a little bit of that bubblegum. Getting some peach as well. That's probably also from those Galaxy hops. Probably some, yeah. I'm definitely smelling some of that sort of passion fruit, the citrus, kind of notes on this as well. Now the G01 Stefan, if I recall correctly, it's more of a like a Hefe, wheat beer Weizen yeast, and if underpitched or if you mess with the temperature in I forget which direction it is, if it's too cold. I think it's if it's too cold, it's kind of stressing out the yeast, that you will end up with some clove, some more banana sort of esters going on in there. I did this purposely. Did a yeast starter, pretty big yeast starter, and I fermented it right in the middle of the range. I believe the range on this one, I think I wrote it down here. Yeah, it's supposed to be somewhere between 63 and 73, and I went right in the middle. I fermented this at 68. So I'm not getting any of the banana or the clove, I guess, in the nose. If I am, it's very subtle. The hops are definitely shining in this one. So let's go ahead and try it. Cheers. Yeah, that's delicious. It is it's not bitter at all. And you get all that fruitiness from the hops. And this came out right under 6%. So it was, I did really well matching it. I was aiming for 1051, 1052, and got 1055. And it actually went way down to 1008, which I was also not expecting. Yeah, that's very nice. And the flavor follows the nose on this. Definitely getting a nice punch of passion fruit, some bubble gum, plenty of citrus. Definitely getting some of that peach as well. That's in there too. Yeah, it turned out real nice. All right. Well, I do have footage of the brew day. So we're going to go ahead and cut to that brew day footage now. And we'll see you on the next video. Cheers. There we go, get ready to mash in, deliver in the water. Just doing a fill up here from the HLT. And just about there. Go ahead and cut this off. And we'll give it a stir. Just have the salt sitting right on the top, so they'll get good mixed in now. Alright, there we go. Water's been delivered, mixed in, and just mashing now. And then I just top this off after taking water off of there to underlet, and that way everything will balance out. We're mashing in at 151 today, so here in a couple of minutes this should pretty well normalize here. And off we go. Well, pretty good. I was aiming for 5.3. Alright, oil has begun. So we're going to put 60 minutes on the clock. And we have a ½ ounce of El Dorado to get started. Yakima Valley hops. While I'm waiting for the boil to finish, I figured I'd get a head start on cleaning. I've already rinsed out the HLT. It's drying now. And I have some Sani-Clean going through the mash tun now that it's been rinsed out. So Sani-Clean's nice for pumps because it keeps the foam down, as you can see. Does a real good job of keeping things clean and running long enough it'll be sanitary. So, I'm just going to let this run while the boil's finishing. And then after the boil kettle's clean, I'll move that over to the boil kettle after that's washed and rinse that. There you go, 5-Star Chemicals, sponsor of the Brew Tubers. We got the full lineup here. Got the PBW for cleaning. We got the Sani-Clean for rinse and sanitization. for the pumps, and Star San for sanitizing everything else. I got some Star San here in the bucket. It's just, I use that to rinse and sanitize everything along in the brew day. And there you go. Alright, it's very humid out here, so I gotta make this fast. This stuff will clump up. But I'm gonna put in the yeast nutrient and the Whirlfloc tablet. There's already clumping up there. Whirlfloc. Okay, 5 minutes to go. This is an ounce of Galaxy. Alright, now with the last few minutes here of the boil, I actually just started slowing down because I just hooked up my chiller. This is how I like to sanitize everything. I got the Whirlpool going early. That way I can get all the air bubbles out of all the lines and get everything nice and sanitized while we are finishing the boil. And here in just a few seconds, yep, we're getting pretty close. We're going to be needing to add in the rest. Now this, I am doing the Dropkick Nate, but I'm doing a bit of a variation of it. So it's pretty much the same grain bill. I'm using regular Munich in this because that's what I had on hand instead of the Bolander Munich that's normally called for in this authentic recipe. But I did up the hops because I'm trying to use up the rest of my hops from a couple of years ago that I had held onto of the Galaxy and the Eldorado. So instead of this being a couple of ounces, this is now 2 ounces of each, so it's 4 ounces going in at the end of the boil. So that's my difference in this beer from before. So yeah, we're pretty close. The last minute is when I was supposed to put this in, so we're going to go ahead and drop that in now. Alright, now we are chilling. Just kind of got this cracked and got the water going through my stainless steel counterflow chiller, going out to the driveway. I'll probably collect a little bit of that for cleaning, for cleaning the kettle for later. And yeah, here in a minute we'll be going into the fermenter. Got the fermenter set up over there, ready to go. Alright, we're under 100, so that's usually when I want to start moving this around. Turn that off. And start putting it into the fermenter. Don't fear the foam. That's Star San. Looks like about 10:55. I was aiming for 10:52, so I'll take it. Alright, here's my yeast starter. This was the wort that I had canned, pressure canned. It's just 2-row. Got a nice healthy yeast cake on the bottom of that. I'll probably decant a little bit of this, but go ahead and pitch her momentarily. Alright, decanted probably a little more than half. My volume is a tad low. It's like 4 3/4. So that's okay. That'll still be good beer. And there we go, all tucked away. Now for the cleanup. It's only been like 3 hours. Already got activity. It's the joys of having a starter, I guess. Alright, we are now transferring the DKN. Just came out of cold crash. Got our CR2 hooked up here. Just a couple of pounds of pressure because that's all these things can handle, but just enough to get it go through. There are hops in here. in a screen. So I did put on the bouncer to try to take out anything that might be floating around on the way down into the keg. But it does look pretty clear coming in, so it should be alright. But here you go.